down rather and work on the guidelines. I've seen a guideline that he gracefully shared with me, which has been around since April of 2024. And it has quite a few details in there. And I think it's about time. And I think it was guided by the Peace Council. Okay, so it's all in the right direction. Because as you mentioned, our tolerance, our coexistence in many ways, how we get along, is crucial to the very fabric and what has made Ghana so peaceful when other nations are rather fighting endless wars, civil wars, and other internal strife. So it's very important that we keep this going. But that doesn't mean that there can't be some rules, because where one person's freedom begins is when another person's ends, and so on. So it's a fine balance that needs to be maintained. At what point should we make sure that the mission schools are able to do the things that they feel are critical to them without infringing on the rights? Because I think in the Constitution, is it Article 25, I believe, talks about the freedoms that people have to facilities of education and so on. And so you can't just be denying people the rights to government-funded, especially the government-funded schools. You can't deny certain people the rights to them. But once you're in there, there are also important lines that are important to the missions who establish those schools and often continue to play critical roles in them. So we need to come to an understanding. Hopefully the Peace Council can get more involved, and they can see if the guidelines require some additional clauses and provisions so that this can be settled more amicably. I think that would be a better way than using the law courts, because, you know, when it gets to courts now, it can get strictly constructionist, as I think the lawyers usually get it, and you may come out with certain rulings that could then hurt one side or the other and create certain tensions that we don't need. So hopefully they can judge on. I would hope that the Catholic Mission is in their right to obviously apply the amicus Zechariah, and whichever way to join the case, and if the courts allow it, that's all fine. But I would hope that the Christian Council, the Peace Council, the Muslim communities, the Chief Imam and others can rather come together. It's Article 21. Sorry, I said 25. Thank you so much, Law. I stand to be corrected. And they can come together and then work together to see how we can accommodate both needs, right? Because I've seen things like dress codes are important, but at what point could we perhaps allow certain levels of accommodation, okay, that can allow the Muslims to coexist more smoothly with the rest without stepping on the values and the things that the mission schools hold dear. So in other words, I'm not so sure this is a law matter. I would rather hope that they will go back to the Peace Council. They will mediate as this case is going on. Hopefully it's allowed, and they can sit and then work something out, update the guidelines, so we all go strictly by the guidelines. It should be signed, not only, I think the guidelines I saw was signed by the mission reps of the mission schools. It was not signed by the Muslim reps.
It was.
It was as well.
Yes,
okay.
The Ahmadiyya head signed, the Chief Imam signed.
Okay. Yeah. So we have to begin to go by those guidelines, all right? And if it needs some updating, then let's update that and try to stay out of the courts.
Okay.
Michael.
Okay. So, I mean, this was just for the preliminaries. We'll move to our first substantive issue for the morning, and it has to do with the SIM card re-registration as announced by the Minister for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovations a few weeks ago. The Minister has been explaining further the necessity for this decision and exercise.
Those who are engaged in mobile money fraud, they are part of the people who will be on social media today saying that this registration must not happen. Because we will be able to block every SIM card that was not registered by the real owner of the Ghana card will not be able to go through this process. And that's why we're refusing to do a wholesale transfer of what has been already registered. Because if you do that, you transfer all the fraudulently acquired cards. If the card is yours, Nana, for phone, now your registration. If we've brought comfort of this level and technology to serve you at this level, and you still say you don't want to register, then we must ask you why you don't want to register. What is it that you are running away from? So I'm not expecting everybody to register, but I believe that every law-abiding citizen who genuinely acquired their SIM card will take advantage of the process to register. And so for those who are...
Okay, so that's Sam George, Minister for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovations there, explaining the need for the SIM card re-registration. Fortunately for us, Prince Ofosu Sefa was co-chair of the technical committee that supervised the SIM card registration during the time of the MPP, the early part of it.
Of the project.
Okay, so you were changed at some point? Or?
I moved to GIFEC.
Okay, yes.
And
yes,
then I had to relinquish that
role.
Right.
But what were the considerations at the time? And do you think that the exercise at the time fully dealt with the challenges it seek to solve at the time?
Okay, so I was going to read an LI here, but before I even get to the LI, which is LI 22111, okay, that's the governing legislative instrument that was used. I was passed in 2012, so it had been there for some time, and it detailed how what IDs should be used to register a SIM. If you look at section 7 of it, you see that to register a SIM, for instance, it specifies that the national identification card, Ghana card, must be used for SIM registration, among other things that the Ghana card should be used for. Now, without taking us too far back, because the histrionics is not so important, but I will only mention the history of it because the first re-registration is important. We mention it because it applied to what happened the latest time when we did a SIM registration. And the first SIM re-registration process, I call it re-registration from, I know these words are being played around.
Yeah.
Some say it's a new registration, some say it's a re-registration. For me, the technically right word is a re-registration from the standpoint that you already have the SIM.
Yes, and
you're using it.
Yeah.
And so for me, if you are registering it, you are literally just redoing your registration process for one reason or the other, as determined by the government or the authorities. Okay? So the first re-registration was done from 2010 to 2012. And that was adjudged to have been 2010
okay.
to 2012.
Okay.
Okay? It failed.
Okay.
It failed. It failed because the law, the LI that applied to it at the time, allowed for multiple IDs to be used. Okay? At the time, the Ghana card itself was not even ready. You get it? So we allowed multiple IDs to be used. Unfortunately, we didn't even find a way to restrict the IDs. And IDs like the NHIS card was allowed to be used. And the record showed that those cards could be owned by foreigners, and what it was the governance regime for some of those IDs were not up to the standard that we would eventually get for the Ghana card.
Okay.
So after the process was completed, it affected 21 million SIMs at the time. And then those 21 million SIMs, after we were done re-registering, almost every one of them was re-registered again, because people could easily get any of the required IDs. And so it was quite loose. And so you ended up literally just swimming against the tide. So when it was all said and done, within the industry, almost all objective observers said that we were not able to really solve what we had wanted to solve, which was to make sure that the SIMs that were re-registered, the standards were stricter. We could easily tell who had registered a SIM, and we could trace them. You see, I keep hearing this thing about people saying that we will, when we do a re-registration, it will stop any kind of SIM-related fraud.
Okay.
If we could stop crime at any point in time, why would we have the police? Why would we have cybersecurity authorities? Why would we have YOCO and other law enforcement? How would Mr. Jemega's business, practicing law, how would that continue? If a crime, it never ends, unfortunately.
Yeah, but there are measures that could also control it and bring it down appreciably.
Exactly. So I just want to put it on the record. So when I've had instances where people are talking about it, I hear it in the news. In some cases, I've even been asked that, but mobile money fraud continued even after you did SIM re-registration. Well, nobody can promise an eradication of crime. All right. What you do is you put in measures to minimize, to mitigate, and to make it harder. And then if crime also does occur, unfortunately, as it often does, you are able to have tools and other things that can allow law enforcement to trace those people more easily and bring them to book. Right? That's always the purpose. No one can come up with any SIM re-registration that is going to be a panacea, that is going to solve all crimes related to SIM usage.
So,
now,
so what then was the purpose for the
first one?
The first one, yes.
Well, again, the purpose has been that we have SIMs we are not able to track at times. There was what we called there were SIMs that had been pre-registered and so on. So people could just buy them and they have been pre-registered for you. The standards were loose. People were registering SIMs for other people without any care and all that. So it was for those reasons they tried to re-register so that we can identify the owners. And hopefully, if the process is very well done, we'll be able to trace if something goes wrong with that SIM. We can trace who it belongs to and bring them to book if need be. I think that is a fair goal that can always be had for an important thing like that. Okay, so as at 2012, when the project was done, I've already told you why it failed. It failed virtually completely because the IDs that were used were multiple. Many of them didn't have the strong governance and other secure processes.
Now, I'm particularly talking about the one which you chaired, the technical committee.
So,
and that one,
a new government.
The ID was the Ghana card.
Yes. So a new government came in, obviously, in 2017.
Yeah.
And realized that, of course, the number of SIMs had grown from 21 million. In fact, by the time a new SIM re-registration was done, beginning 2021, October, okay, the number of SIMs had grown to about 43 million. And if the processes were loose and the last re-registration failed completely, then you can only imagine how the problem of SIM being used without being traced and all that had exacerbated as at 2021 when the project was redone, the exercise was redone. So the government looked at what made that previous re-registration fail. And we realized that it was a lack of an authoritative ID that had the security features and other governance regimes in place to make sure that when that such a card is used for registration, we minimize the lack of traceability. It had biometrics and all those things. We all have Ghana cards, so I'm sure we know. Embedded on there is even a chip that stores encrypted biometrics and other information that makes it very secure. So looking at LI 2111, it mandated that the Ghana card be the card that will be used for SIM registration. However, we also realized that during the implementation that certain people may need exceptions. Okay, so for example, there are visitors who are just coming in for a short period of time. So those exceptions were put in. There was also an executive instrument 63 that was put in there to implement something called the Central Equipment Identity Register, CEIR. Okay. I'm sure you may have heard about it.
Yeah.
So we put in some few exceptions for very specific people. So for example, I remember that if you're a visitor to Ghana, you had up to about 90 days, you could use your passport to get a SIM, like it's done in many countries, it's normal. But if you're going to stay beyond that period, then you need to regularize yourself and get the Ghana card for foreign citizens, and then update your SIM information to the Ghana card if you were going to stay beyond 90 days. If you stayed below that, you could have used your passport to do that. But most Ghanaians registered their SIM with the Ghana card. I'm sure you did that.
Yeah.
And you did it from the comfort of your home. So this is nothing that, you know, I heard the president saying that they just registered a SIM. That was rather unfortunate because almost all Ghanaian adults know that they did their SIM re-registration and they did it with a USSD code. And that code, you enter your Ghana card and you decide what SIMs you need to link to your Ghana card. So almost every SIM, all right, that's at the end of the project. At least the formal end of the project was around 2023. As at that time, almost everyone who also didn't have a Ghana card as at the beginning of the project would have had the opportunity to get their Ghana card and link. And you did it from the comfort of your home. You didn't have to go anywhere to do that. That's what we call stage one. And the stage one was using a USSD code, putting your Ghana card in, and then putting the SIM and then linking them. You answer specific questions, and all this information is stored at the telco. The telcos have what we call the Equipment Identity Register, EIR, each of them. When they get this information, by specific process, I think it's overnight, the data is then transmitted to the NCA's Central Equipment Identity Register, CEIR, and consolidated from all the different telcos each day as they get the information. And then it's stored at NITA, which is the rightful authority by law to store all our critical information assets in this country.
Okay.
That's where it's stored. When that process was done, that was a huge improvement. So I hear people saying that this was a zero improvement, it was a total failure. How can it be a total failure other than in the minds of politicians doing propaganda, as this government is well known for? They did propaganda with LGBTQ, they did propaganda with cocoa prices, they did propaganda with Galamsey. I mean, the list is long. They even did propaganda with the Russian-Ukraine war that it wouldn't impact us. My fellow Ghanaians, if a government that has scammed you to this level and they have shown the propensity to do propaganda with everything, don't trust them in terms of all these politics and propaganda that they are doing with the SIMs. It's the same government. Don't believe them. They said it's a zero success. I've heard some MPs, even my own brother from the other side, Abbott, Abed from Binduru yesterday was saying the same thing. How is it a total failure when we have linked almost every...
What have we achieved with the earlier SIM re-registration?
What we have achieved is that we've cut out all those other IDs that could be linked to a SIM. That's huge progress. Okay. No more does the law also allow any pre-registered SIM. The government has every right to hold telcos accountable if there happen to be any SIMs that are found not to have been properly registered. On top of it, I'll end with this stage 1, because there is a stage 2, which I'll talk about. Okay. But with the stage 1, which is linking all our SIMs to the Ghana card, that is a total success, 100%. The reason being, when NCA was done with that project, they came up with an innovation. And that innovation is a short code. It's a USSD code. *402#. Okay? *402# allows you to put your Ghana card in and verify all the SIMs. All. And by the way, we don't allow only one SIM. We allow more than one SIM. And all Ghanaians can also appreciate, because you cannot live with, you may not be able to live with only one SIM. You may have 2 phones. You may have a TurboNet or some other modem at home for your Wi-Fi. All those require SIMs. So the government by law allowed people to register a number. It was 10. So that you can go in with *402# and confirm all the SIMs that are registered under your name. So even if by any chance somebody somehow got a SIM registered with your Ghana card number, you can go and confirm. Why don't we mandate that every citizen, every subscriber should do this and confirm? So that when you have confirmed, remember, they have your Ghana card on the EIR and the CEIR. So they can run this with the NIA, make sure that all the Ghana card numbers on there are legit and belong to live people in Ghana. After that is done, we can require everyone to check their *402#, confirm the SIMs that are yours, then sign off. This becomes legally binding, meaning that not only all this theory that they are throwing out and the propaganda, they haven't even sent a report to Parliament, the select committee, so we can see what do you call it, a final report instead of the propaganda that is going around, which is rather unfortunate. And the president saying things now, he's saying there's personality problems. All these things that I'm talking to you, where is the personality problem in all of this? None. Okay? So people can check 402, right? *402#, confirm that whatever happened, and if they see anything that is wrong, we can easily have a process for them to remove those. Where is the problem? There is no more problem. If some fraud may happen, what I want to say as I conclude this section, all right, is that with respect to fraud, what we need is data. We need the Bank of Ghana, which is responsible for mobile money, and the NCA, which is responsible for the cell phone itself and the regulation of that industry, to come up with annual reports so we are able to measure. Okay, after we have done, remember I told you, the goal is to make sure that we tighten all loopholes, we increase traceability. All right? But in spite of all that, you never know. Criminals, every day, they are also scheming on how they may get around the system. You understand? All we can do is to tighten up the things. And if you tighten up with the Ghana card like this, which already has biometrics, and people can even go in and do *402 and confirm, and we can make sure that this is actually saved, that you have gone in, you have confirmed. If you don't do it, we give you a time. You don't do it, we're going to block you.
Prince,
then where is the problem? This stage 1 is a complete success.
You have told us that some of the objectives for the SIM re-registration at the time was to deal with the challenges of tracing the identities of people who had registered
and
particular...
the actual IDs.
Yes,
some
the
of them
actual
were
IDs and
not
all of
strong.
that. Now, we have done these things. I appreciate your position that we may not necessarily be able to totally eliminate SIM fraud, but we expected at the time that it would deal with the challenge to some appreciable levels.
Of course.
But today, SIM fraud is there, is growing. We also have people registering SIMs which are not connected to their identities.
What does that mean? They are registering SIMs?
No, I mean, people have
it's
registered.
Illegal.
People, yes, but we have that in the system, and even the minister mentioned it. So I'm asking whether, I mean, these things have come as a result of the flaws with the system, or there is that lack of will on the part of the operators to deal with these issues head on.
My brother, this has nothing to do. You can register SIM 100 times. If at the end of the day you are saying that you have SIMs, I'm so sorry. Remember, they haven't filed a formal report, which Ghanaians should all be asking for.
Okay.
All MPP, NDC, the MPs, the select committee, they should have a formal report that has been signed by the authorities responsible, whether it's the BOG for mobile money or NCA for the SIMs themselves, along with the NIA for any related SIM-related information. They should get a report from them. I don't want to be going, with all due respect, by the word of, let's say, NDC minister who is now judging the work of MPP. I don't want to just go by that. Okay. I want a formal report. Fraud. You said that, but SIM fraud is still going, and that's what I'm saying is the problem. Has it gone down? Do you know? How are you going to tell me as we sit here? I've been hearing this and I'm getting a bit tired of it, with all due respect to all of us. We are not getting the data that tells us if the fraud is reducing or is the same or is increasing. Have we gotten that? Instead of asking the authorities responsible to be reporting these things, if it's the cyber unit of the police, they should be gathering data. And that is how an advanced democracy that Ghana is aspiring to be. That's how it's run. They need to collect the data, then they need to report it, at least through Parliament, the appropriate committees. Okay. So we can all see if things are improving or are the same or worsening. I hope you get the point. NCA cannot do anything other than go through the process, which, as I told you, the stage 1 of linking everyone's to the Ghana card is a complete success that can even be validated with the *402 hash. There is nothing stopping us from doing this. And that is one of the best things we could do. By law, if you look at the Section 7 of the LI 2111, you see that all that was mandated by the law as at that time. I've seen some new regulations that are coming up. But as at the time, it said that you must use the Ghana card. Once that has been done, and I've even given you tools that can allow people to verify, and we can mandate so that now they sign off and don't say that, oh, somebody has... when you have the tool to verify, why are you saying somebody has registered a SIM in your name? The government and the authorities should simply mandate that you go and verify and check off. And if there is any problem, we correct it. It's simple. You don't need a whole new registration to do this. For what? What is it going to do? And if we're saying that we wanted to reduce fraud, as we sit here, I can't tell you if fraud has gone down the same or it has worsened. I can't tell you because the authorities responsible haven't released the relevant report for us. All we're saying is, but fraud is still happening. But crime is also always happening. I mean, you are always likely to have something that may happen in the system. Right? One last thing. If the minister said that they went and they found some SIMs that were not properly registered, I am so sorry to hear this from the minister, with all due respect. Who did that? Which telco did that? Have they held them accountable? Does this mean Ghanaians should suffer to go and do a new SIM registration because a telco has allowed someone to register a SIM without the Ghana card? How is this the fault of Ghanaians? Those who are responsible for any such lapses should be punished and held accountable.
Okay.
That's what they should do. They shouldn't come and tell Ghanaians about it. Okay. Has he done anything about it? Has he charged anyone?
Okay.
Please.
Prince Sefa is former CEO GIFEC. At this point, we'll do a quick break. When we return, Theophilus Jimega would also have his time on the subject.
And so, for those who are engaged in mobile money fraud, they are part of the people who will be on social media today saying that this registration must not happen. Because we will be able to block every SIM card that was not registered by the real owner of the Ghana card will not be able.
Hello, my friends. My name is Calkids Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Calkids. Happy smile.
The Ghana Exim Bank is 10 years old. Hooray! And to commemorate this milestone, the Ghana Exim Bank is hosting a two-day international conference on the theme, A Decade of Enabling Export Trade and Industrial Transformation, Resetting GEXIM for the Next Frontier. The event takes place on the 25th to 26th of March at the Kempinski Hotel, Gold Coast City, 8 a.m. each day. President of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, will perform the official opening of the conference. Special guest and speaker, Honorable Elizabeth Ofosue-Jari, Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. Conference host is Honorable Sylvester Adina Mensah, Chief Executive of the Ghana Exim Bank. For inquiries, call 0208-541-480 or visit eximbankghana.com/conference to register. Media partners, Daily Graphic, Media General, The Multimedia Group, City FM, Radio Gold and Channel 1 TV. And knowledge partners include IFC and SME Finance Forum.
Finding the ideal property shouldn't be a daunting task. At MNC Properties, we believe everyone deserves a place to call home. That's why we specialize in providing affordable housing options under our flagship project, Fresh Property Joy. Specifically designed for low and medium income earners. Our range of customizable homes includes 2 and 3 bedroom standard and executive options, all meticulously crafted using innovative interlocking brick technology. We understand the importance of simplicity and convenience in the acquisition process. That's why we have designed our procedures to be straightforward and hassle-free, offering flexible payment options tailored to your individual needs. In addition to our affordable homes, we proudly offer litigation-free lands for sale in vibrant and upscale communities that present the perfect opportunity to build your dream home. We are committed to making affordable housing a reality, providing you with the joy of owning a home that meets your budgets and aspirations. Whether you're looking to buy, rent, or invest, we've got you covered. Our service team is ready to assist you on 030-255-1917. MNC Properties, choice of class.
Wabedum tamaso. Hey, J. Watch it, na learning. Missy, watch and learn. Makwaya besisia. Abozig. Akiche say no ya konati and the more drink woman. Hey. But I didn't mean. Oh, sorry. She knew her old days. Eji. Dabio, baby wom. Ready. Hey, baby wom. Ah, Eji. I'll cause some discomfort. Ah. Sorry, well, uncle, where would dad? Why your funeral?
Say a Pesori insecticide GB ato a user. Ko pharmacy na shop biamu. Na mum say a pharmacy supermarket and a shop ra. Na repedudu eto akotonwa. Ono fra Royal Dutch and a Aerofield Trading. Efi spray wo dan wa. Chansima edronu ansa na era dan mu. Inkratui FDA ajatum.
When nations rise, it begins with bold conversations. When economies grow, it is driven by partnership. This April, Ghana's business and policy leaders converge at the Pro Business Forum 2026, the nation's premier platform for investment, enterprise, and economic transformation. With special guest of honor, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, joining captains of industry, financial institutions, investors, and entrepreneurs.
The Pro Business Forum is more than just an event. It is a call to action. And so let us work together to build a Ghana that is competitive, productive, and inclusive, and a Ghana that creates opportunities for all.
Come, let's engage in high-level dialogue, explore industry exhibitions, build powerful networks, and unlock real opportunities from finance and insurance to manufacturing, agribusiness, SMEs, and innovation. This is where it all happens. From the 3rd to the 5th of April 2026 at the Crow Convention Center in Praeso Hills. Go to www.crowbusinessforum.com and register now. To register for exhibitions, call 059 555 5885 or 059 555 5995. Pro Business Forum. Connect, promote, grow.
Welcome back from the break. You're still live on Good Morning Ghana, and I'm Michael Kofi Odro. We've been discussing the proposed SIM registration by the Honorable Minister for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovations, the Honorable Sam George. With me in the studios, Prince Sefa, former GIFEC CEO, and Theophilus Jimega, who is a private legal practitioner, an engineer, and member of the NDC's communications team. Now, Theo, let me come to you. What are the flaws with the SIM registration undertaken by the NPP government, and are these flaws so much so that we need a holistic SIM registration?
Before I answer you, permit me to take over your duty. If Prince can just use maybe 20 seconds to tell us, or 10 seconds, what was the purpose of the SIM registration?
But I asked him that.
Yeah, he went round. Yes, I couldn't get it.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I?
Prince, yes. I'll give you a minute to
So the key purpose was to make sure that we link the SIMs to the authoritative and the newly deployed Ghana cards, okay, which the NDC2 had failed to do for 8 good years since President Kufuor's time. We did it. Once that was done, that Ghana card is a powerful card. Okay? It's authoritative, it's secure, and it's also very reliable. And we wanted to make sure that the failure that happened with the first SIM re-registration in 2012, where all kinds of IDs and then pre-registered SIMs, we're going to cut all that out of the system. And for all intents and purposes, that has been achieved. 100% success.
Okay, thanks. Unfortunately, there's one part that he couldn't get, or the main part that he couldn't get, is to be able to identify the SIM to a human being and prevent the misuse of the SIM.
Okay. But I think earlier when I asked him, he spoke about traceability.
Traceability for what?
But traceability...
Okay, traceability for what? Traceability for what? I trace and I know you don't even need SIM registration to do it. Truecaller can trace calls for you. There are so many apps. So traceability for what? Okay, to prevent the misuse, particularly fraud of the SIM card. That is the most important thing.
But
now,
lawyer,
let me. I'm coming to you.
Truecaller may not necessarily give you the true identity of the
True
person.
caller, but it will, I mean,
No,
it will trace,
True caller.
There are so many apps.
True
I
caller
give you one.
usually works with how people have saved.
Yes, I gave you one.
The number.
I gave you one app. There are so many apps to trace. But what are you tracing for? To do what with it? That it belongs to Moro, it belongs to Prince, it belongs to you, it belongs to me, that's all. No, that is not the purpose. The purpose is to prevent the misuse or the illegal usage of the SIM card.
Okay.
That is the first thing.
Okay.
And that today, the lawyer, you see, Prince, if you become a lawyer, you'll be very good. he put us all into a sleep mode by telling us that if these things are not done properly, lawyers like that will not have jobs to do, etc. So we all relax. Look, no matter, even in areas where the punishment for murder is death sentence, there is still murder. Yeah. So no matter the laws, there will still be people who, even in the Bible, all that we have been told in the Quran, we still have crimes, we have evil doing, etc. Yesterday, I had the opportunity of reading a case passed on by the Director of Legal NDC by Elom Kwame Goni versus Vodafone Ghana Limited, NCA, and Attorney General. And the person's contention is that 2 different numbers were registered to his name when he has not done any registration with those numbers.
Okay.
We don't need a report at this stage to tell us that SIM fraud is on the increase. There is no Ghanaian here who will tell me that at least every week they will receive a message to say, I need 200 cedis urgently. Send it to number 0222 blah, 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 blah. I'll pay you tomorrow morning. You call the owner of the SIM and he tells you, no, somebody got into our system through the WhatsApp platform or something and is doing this. Now, if there is a situation, as the minister has said, that number has been identified as being linked to me, Kojo Jimega, that I am the one who used that number for fraud, and my phone is being used for the fraud, first, my Ghana card will be deactivated, the SIM card will be deactivated, my phone will also be blocked from ever being used. That is not what is happening currently that we have. So if you know that if you commit fraud with your SIM card, and your SIM card will be blocked, your Ghana card will be deactivated, and your phone will also be blocked, the incidence of the crime, much as I said that no matter the law, crime will still be there, the incidence will reduce. And it will also assist the traceability you are talking about. It will assist the authorities to identify and pinpoint the person who is responsible for that fraud. Now, he mentioned something that the people who are responsible, look, the telcos claim that they are just middlemen, conveyor belts. They are actually working for NCA. NCA is the one to keep the data. They are only taking the data and passing on to the NCA. So the telcos cannot, as it were, be punished for the sins of NCA. But hold on. We have been told that during the SIM registration, the head of NCA and the minister were having internal squabbles.
Sorry?
They were having internal fights.
Who and who?
The head.
We'll come to that.
Yes.
I'm going to read that story
yes.
as a follow-up to the conversation.
Okay.
So we'll come to that.
We'll come to that. So the idea, I'll give you another example. You see, you move to a country like Rwanda. Even if you are there for 10 seconds and you need to make call and use one of the networks in Rwanda, for whatever reason, you need to register. And you need to register with either your passport or their giving card. But what do we have here? You can walk straight to a vendor here. I am telling you, you can walk to a vendor and just tell the vendor that I need a SIM card that is already registered. And the vendor is able to, it's all over the place.
Oh, how?
How do you think that the person who said my number was registered to, my name was registered to 2 other SIM cards that I never knew about, how do you think it happened? And there are instances where people put in even social media notices to say that check your SIM card. Perhaps they are linked to other numbers, because when you go to register, there is the tendency. Look, my brother here should be able to appreciate something, that even your ATM card, your bank card, can be cloned by you purchasing at a shop. Can be cloned and multiplied. How much more Ghana card? that somebody is taking picture of it, and you are taking picture of you, and you walk away after it is done. How much more?
Okay.
So in order to don't okay me at this stage, because you allowed him. So yes, you allowed him so much time. Let us come to this now. Yes. So how much more SIM card at this stage? So Ghana card. Ghana card is easily cloned. I gave you an authoritative case to say that the person has moved from High Court all the way to Supreme Court to say that his numbers were used. There was another case that we had in this country where someone's card, a Ghana card, and number was used to register with either Bolt, Uber, or Yango, and the person ordered the ride, and his name appeared as the one who is riding the ride. We had it in this country. So the idea to say that this has been solid, that there is nothing wrong with it, is neither here nor there. And I can tell you, there are a number of people today who are not registered, but they are using their SIM cards. At a stage, NCA or telcos, through the telcos, were trying to block people who were not registered.
Okay.
There was noise. They relaxed. And that has continued. You see, to make it appear like, for example, they should be punishing people today for sins that were done in the previous regime that were never punished, but makes the whole situation a bit unfair.
This situation and the flaws you have enumerated, who are we to blame for these flaws?
That the first one is what you said you are coming to. The overseer, the one who had the oversight responsibility, who had stiff-neckedness and did not want to listen to anything. Listen, the difference this time is that Honorable Sam George said there will be wider stakeholder engagement.
Okay.
Previously, it is you take it or leave it situation. That is one of the things that culminated in the situation where they are telling you that the NCA boss and the minister were not even on talking terms. Today, what we are going to see is that the NCA will be involved, the NIA will also be involved, the telcos will be involved, so that it will be a multifaceted thing that once you pick A, it is linked from one agency to another agency, so that tomorrow we will not have a situation where, we are also going to use current biometric identification system, so that you don't have a situation where you sit somewhere and your name and number, Ghana card is linked to a number that you have no idea about. Now, if that number is going to be used, you have to do it taking your biometric features. So there's a vast difference between what was done previously and what is being advocated for now. The most promising thing or heartwarming thing is that Honorable Sam George indicated that this is going to be the last that we're going to have. And I want to take him on his word. Because I remember during the Honorable Esla Usu era, he keeps identifying some of the gaps which has culminated in situations where we have now that you are there tomorrow morning or this morning, you receive a message to say that send me 500, you are there and from another number. And there was a time, personally, when you send me that message, I copied the previous ones and I sent all of them to you to say that. There was one recently I even replied that the ones whose phone you are using cannot even type boy. And you are writing all these to me.
Long message.
Yes, there was one I replied to say.
How are we sure that this is going to be the last? Because I'm sure the exercise we had supervised by the MPP government with people like Osler Owusu, Honorable, and Prince Ofosu Sefa heavily involved. I'm sure at the time they also thought that it was going to be the last of its kind. But here we are today with identifiable flaws according to the government and the Minister for Communication, finding the need for another exercise. How are we sure that this is actually going to be the last?
Yes, I indicated that previously one of the things that was missing is stakeholder engagement.
Okay.
Currently, the telcos are talking about some of the problems they encountered. The NCA is talking about some of the problems they encountered. I don't think Prince will tell us that previously, where NIA is linked to NCA and is linked to, give me the ones for health insurance, and NHIS. They are all linked. But what we want, what is going to be done now is all those three will be communicating at the same time when you are doing the registration, including even passport office. They will all be linked. All the data will be linked. So you don't have a situation where someone comes as TKG Mega in one database with all my features. Then you find another TK Jimega with all the same features, but not me in another database. That is not going to happen. So the linking of all these things is one of the things that they are.
But the minister has also said that people are going to have enjoy the comfort of going through this exercise from their homes, offices, and respective bases. Yeah. So how are we going to?
Somebody is going to pay
and ensure all of these security features you mentioned.
There are so many. In other jurisdictions, you sit at your home and you even make applications. They ask for
yes,
bio ID.
But in our case,
yes, that's
how are we
so
going to
it's just a cut and paste situation. We are not going to invent the wheel today. There are so many security platforms that we can copy from and say we are using this. You take the pictures will match out with what you have on your Ghana card. Remember, Ghana card already have your bio details. You take one and it matches with the one that Ghana card has. The NHIS also has your bio details. It matches. The passport office also has the same thing. So if there is confusion, they match with all this and say, hey, you are not the one. If you are still having problem with that, that is why there will be points for you to go and the verification is done. That's as simple as that. So that should not
be able to deal with the issue of people registering SIMs with the IDs of other people.
Yes.
Because we're still going to be using our IDs at the bank at places. We're going to be going to the photocopier machines and be doing photocopies of our ID, and people are going to have access to the data.
Good.
With the self-registration system where people could register for their homes, if someone has a copy of my ID, how are we going to ensure that that person is unable to register?
The person will not have a copy of your official ID.
Okay.
Your physical thing.
Okay.
So when the person is taking picture and he tells you that open your eye wider and for the eye the features to be captured, the person will not have that.
Okay.
It is not a situation. That is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. That this time we are going to have a situation where you take the phone before you, it takes it matches with the others that you have to say that you are not the same person. We are having difficulty identifying you. Go to a point where it will be taken properly for you to be identified. Simple. You, even sitting here, you have identified some of the errors. And you think that the technical committee will not be able to identify some of those loopholes to be able to fix it. Look, what will be the benefit, the pleasure of Honorable Sam George, NCA, the NDC, to do a new registration when all the registration that is done is very good? What will be the pleasure of it? What will be the pleasure of it? We were in this country when we were told by the EC that their registration will be the last one. Their voter register will be the last one. Since then, have they done any other new one? If not,
if you go to on the street, and we are on the street, and on the
I am on the street too. I'm a street boy. Yes, I am a street boy too. Yes,
and on the street you hear all kinds of things, and yes. you question the justification for undertaking this exercise if the previous one, delivered to optimum levels, the expectations that we had. And people have said on the street that this is another money-making machine for people who control the system.
That's what it is.
What's making money out of what? Indeed, yesterday I listened to the head of Telecos Chambers that they don't actually, at this stage, the cost is being worked out. They don't actually know the cost. Now, all the registrations we've had, I can't remember paying for any registration.
Okay.
Perhaps my memory is fading, but
I paid.
Did you pay?
It's a 5
In all sincerity, I don't remember.
Yes, I can't remember paying. I'll
get a chance. Today, Mr. Jimega is going and going because he told you he has to keep going. Hey, Michael.
This is my brother. I love him, but he's in the wrong party. Yes. I can't remember paying. But somewhere along the line, perhaps when we get there, the government will say we're footing it, or the telcos will say we are footing it for our own
safety. Or it could be shared responsibility.
Shared responsibility. We don't. That is why I'm saying that the wider stakeholder engagement that is taking place now is not what we experienced in the past. So this is going to be different from what we experienced in the past.
Okay. Let me share with our viewers that they can join the conversation. Unfortunately, we're not using a text line today. But I'm sure you've got some wild thoughts too on the necessity for the SIM registration as proposed by the Minister for Communications, Digital Innovations. Share them with us. Just get onto our Facebook platform, Metro TV Ghana. Search for the page on Facebook, Metro TV Ghana. The show is streaming live there. If it's your first time, like the page, follow the page, and then leave your thoughts on the link where the show is streaming live. This is Good Morning Ghana, and I'm Michael Kofi-Oduro, sitting in for your regular host, Awudu Moro. Now, Prince, coming back to you with the same question. Could this be an avenue for money making as speculated on the streets?
Well, so as I told you, the SIMs that were re-registered was about 42.5 million. So
42.5 million.
5 million.
Who footed the bill at the time?
So most of it was, as I said, with a free USSD code.
Okay.
You put that in, then you did the first stage. I haven't talked about the second stage for a reason, because there are some issues, specific issues I want to address before I get to that. But the second stage was where you had to go to the agent and identify yourself physically. So there was physical identification, contrary to what Mr. Jumega is trying to, and the NDC is trying to portray. And we all remember, this is not me saying it, Ghanaians all remember you had to go to the agents. But we realized along the way that also led to queues and other things. So there was, the agents had an app. They needed a smart app. And the main reason why they needed for that second second stage, which is you've now linked your Ghana card. All right. Remember, he just said there was a case where somebody said that unbeknownst to him or her, somehow there was a SIM that was registered in his or her name, and it was used for something he sued, right? He just said that. So for some of those reasons, we realized that it's okay, we've linked the Ghana card to the SIMs at stage 1, but we need additional processes to make sure that nobody is able to adulterate that.
So the stage 2 was purposely
so the stage 2 to go in, and it's quite normal. Banks, they open accounts. Sometimes I'm able to. I recently did an account in Canada, but it's waiting for my physical visit to the branch before they can open it up for use, full use. You understand? Because they want to see you, and then they want to confirm that you're really who you are, and maybe you sign your signature for them and all that before you can conclude. That was the second stage. So we realized that even though we can do these things from the comforts of our home, it was important we physically see people. Now, therein is that second stage. It was a confirmatory stage. I already told you that the first stage alone is very solid because people can use *402# to confirm everything under them. And if the government would take the next step further, they can even make it mandatory that you go, everyone goes, check, sign off. And then not only that, just for the stage 1, we can even tighten it further. Remember, I told you during the initial stage of the implementation of this project, there was a school of thought that we don't need a second stage at all. And these were coming from very technical people because the Ghana card already has biometrics. It's all stored. So if we're able to do things like what *402 can do, all right? And if it was an MPP government, there's certainly not going to be a re-registration. You're having this because of an NDC government. They want to just also find a way, force it and say that there is something wrong. I'm telling you, you can use *402, confirm. And then, not only that, so this person, when he went to court, I didn't catch the name, the person that sued. When he went to court, if this process, the *402 had been made mandatory, what would have happened would have been that he would have had to confirm that all the SIMs registered for him or her are indeed his or hers. You understand? After that is done, between the telco, the NCA, they will have the record. That person then, anytime there is a change, any addition, removal, another confirmation can be done. so that you have this information that tells you that, Michael, you had 5 SIMs. Now you have 6 SIMs. And we have sent you to confirm before we can move that indeed you have 6 SIMs now. And you would have confirmed it and a confirmation done. So there's so much that can be done just by that first stage. However, we thought it wise that even though the law, as I said, 2111 never mandated, there's a new draft law that the NCA has come up with and this government has come up with. It's called the Draft Number Registration Regulations 2025.
Okay.
And I've read it. And it has sections in there. Now they want to bring biometric verification and all that into law. That is new. And it's another step. I don't believe that actually justifies redoing the whole process, because we can tighten things up going forward. Biometrics is good because biometric is a lot more confirmatory. All right? It's like you go and you vote in an election. You have your what do you call it? Voter's ID, right? However, when you get there, they also ask you to put your finger on the biometric device, which fortunately the Electoral Commission, they have it for 28,000 plus polling stations that we have in the country. They have the biometric verification device. You put your finger on it, then it says that yes, not only are you having do you have a voter's ID, but Michael, you have confirmed yourself that indeed you are you. And this is totally authoritative because it's biometric.
Yeah.
If you can do that, why not? It's great. However, the fact is that as at the time that we were doing the last SIM registration, the NIA did not have enough biometric verification device for over the estimated over 100,000 agents that were involved. Remember, 43 million people, about 15 million subscribers, each of them with roughly 3 SIMs each on average. It was massive. And to get the biometric devices for all those agencies or agents, that's the telco agents, the cost was prohibitive. We did the calculation and realized that, as I don't remember the exact number now, but I remember that each biometric verification device, all right, per the procurement checks that we did, was going to cost more than any high-end laptop. One.
Okay.
And imagine if you have to do this for over 100,000 agents. It was obviously not feasible. So we realized that that wasn't feasible at the time. So therein came this idea that we need a smart system. A smart system would be one that could utilize like a phone app, which many people have. And with that app, you can do some form of biometric verification. It's done not just in Ghana. I did this in just the last few months, registering a bank account that I needed for something. In Canada, I did it from here. Except that, as I said, they want me to physically show before they can conclude it. So you can do a biometric using a smart app. And at the time, we had a meeting, even in the Vice President's office. And this meeting has been confirmed by my guest yesterday on Kesben. It has been confirmed by Derek Laye, who was at the time at the telco chamber, that we had the meeting and the NIA was testing its smart systems. The Minister of Communication had no problem with using the NIA. She's the one that actually wanted us to do. This was to solve the main problem. So if NIA had its smart systems ready, why wouldn't we use it for the biometric verification?
Okay.
But it was not, they were not ready at the time.
Okay.
And they confirmed this.
Okay.
The smart systems were not ready.
Is that to suggest that at the time there were infrastructural challenges? You mentioned
BVDs,
you mentioned the inadequate biometric devices. You mentioned the lack of readiness on the part of NIA with their verification system.
Right. So the
were there infrastructural gap at the time?
Well, so even to this day, I don't believe that the BVD approach is still feasible. I haven't heard anything that tells me they are going to look at that. They are talking about apps, self-service app. It sounds like it. Okay. So the BVD option was not feasible then, and it looks like
will
today.
BVD have delivered a more robust? Would it have delivered a better system?
Why not? Right? We even looked at the possibility, is there any way we could use the electoral commissions? It wasn't compatible with NIA systems, so we couldn't use it. If we could have used it, we could have deployed them like any election maybe for...
Wasn't it possible to develop a compatible system?
Yes, we checked with them. We've confirmed this. So we just didn't have the BVDs, you understand? Yeah. And to this day, I'm almost 100% certain we don't have the BVDs to do a massive registration or re-registration of SIM cards. We don't have that. It's not feasible. So we couldn't do it. So we were left with getting a smart system, apps, to do the biometric verification. NIAs was not ready. And this is, I speak to this on authority. Okay? Because I was in meetings where they demonstrated what they were working on, but they were not ready yet. So the Minister of Communication decided that, the law required, the 2111 required that we use the Ghana card. Remember, there's a whole school of thought which I have taken so much time to explain that ends with the *402#. I keep going back to it. That says that is actually relatively adequate and can get the job done in terms of all traceability and what have you. So we could end there. But she said, why don't we collect? We can look at developing an app. She had the aims of developing an app at the NCA, all right, which could do a biometric capture. What was good about that was that when people went in to verify themselves, ordinarily, we can do an eye check. So you show up, and we say that, Michael, we look at your Ghana card, and when we look at it, it's you. In fact, when I go to Canada, that's what they do. To this day, they are not using biometric systems and Ghana card like we do. They don't have that. They haven't implemented. They have a very robust legal lobbying over there that don't even allow them to get the kind of Ghana card that we do because of privacy and other reasons. They don't have that. So when I go into the bank, as I would, God willing, in Canada, they will look at me, all right, and they will confirm, and with my signature, that indeed they are confident. They will look at my, citizenship ID, and they will confirm. But in our system, we always, the trust level is a bit shaky here. Okay, so we didn't want to just allow just an eye check. We could have done that. But we decided that instead of doing just an eye check, which some agents might abuse and register people who are clearly not the owners of the card, they will look at the card, it's not them, but they say it's them because maybe some 200B is flying somewhere, so they will check it off, all right, and pollute our system. We decided that we can't wait. We're not waiting on the NIA at the time. The Ministry of Communication decided that we'll get an app that will at least compare a liveness, and I've heard the NCA Director General in a stakeholder engagement make the statement that there was no liveness. Please, he should come again. He's my friend. Okay. But there was liveness. Of course, it's a basic check.
That was a decision from the Ministry of Communication.
Of course,
and not the NIA.
The NIA's locus ended when we use the Ghana card for the registration. That's what was mandated by law. You can read Section 7 of LI 2111.
Okay.
It only mandates that we must use it. There's nothing about biometrics. If there was, why are they now writing a regulation to put biometric verification in a draft proposal? There was no law. So the minister, being a lawyer, that Minister of Communications, okay, we're using the Ghana card. The NCA will collect, all right, what we can collect. We will not go with an eye check. And we advised her against allowing eye checks because it was going to pollute the data. So let's use an app which we ended up developing at the NCA. It sits on the common platform and the CEIR as we speak. And this app, which was self-serve, both used by the telcos They had their version. And then there was a self-service version of it, which I said I used. I paid 5 cedis or so.
Where did that 5 cedis go at the time?
I don't know the arrangement for that, but I paid to use the app. There were developers that were contracted to do that work. Okay. So those who chose, it was voluntary. All right? Those who chose to use the self-service app so they don't have to go queue, they could do that. But all other people, you could go to the agents and the telco branches and do your verification without having to pay anything.
Okay.
So the options were there. So when we collected this data, all right, what they did was it allowed us to go beyond just doing an eye check.
Okay.
We could compare the pictorial, the facial biometrics on the Ghana card with your liveness picture. Please, liveness.
Okay.
Okay? And when that matched, the system then allowed you to complete the process. So already that was also captured and it was saved on the CERR to this day. So we know the people, specific people who registered every single SIM. Now, my brother here was saying that there are people who today can give you SIMs without following the law, which is clear. You must use a Ghana card and you must also make sure that you do a second stage to complete it. Right? That's how it's done when you go and get a new SIM. I got one last year. Okay? That is just a violation of the law. And you need to have the telcos held accountable. You should not have any SIMs on your system that doesn't have a Ghana card associated with it. Okay? So if somebody is violating the law, going to bother Ghanaians to go and re-register their SIMs again, how is that going to solve the problem? Maybe Mr. Jimega, when he gets back, can answer me how a new registration process will now stop someone who just doesn't follow the rule, as he's saying. You are not going to stop anything. He says that is this going to be the last SIM registration? You are in government, so today you can say anything you want. If the MPP was in power, there will absolutely not be another SIM registration because I believe we have all the tools to tie up any loose end. He talked about lack of traceability. How is there lack of traceability? If we lock down your the SIMs that you have registered with a Ghana card mandatorily with the *402, and that any new changes that are made, you are notified, how would there not be traceability? You can't deny if you go and confirm. And if any changes are also sent to you. The only other way that something can be in the system would be if the telco's own policies are loose and they allow something to fly in the system.
I asked an earlier
you understand?
Question. Let me bring back the question.
And can you give me one more minute? Because he said a few things. He said...
No, because you hate on traceability. Let's deal with it. And I'm sure you have the points jotted there so you can go back to the point. Because I asked that, okay, if the earlier system ensures traceability, why then have we not gone after people who are misusing these SIMs? Is it the lack of will on the part of the telco operators or our law enforcement agencies, or it is, it's a lapse within the system which is being exploited by these people?
You see, and I'll explain it in English. Said
yeah.
When you go to sleep, somehow you feel there may be some reason, so you lock. Even when you have walls and other things, you still lock, right?
Yeah.
Because there's some fear that as you sleep, you never know. So we have police. We have cybersecurity unit in the police. We have cybersecurity authority. We have the NCA, we have law enforcement, we have the telcos. Everybody is supposed to do their job. They are all there. Regardless of how we tighten up the laws and all that, we don't disband the police unit. Neither do we disband or get rid of our law courts. They continue to be there because you know what? Some people may still try to do something. So my brother here was saying that, the traceability, if we have registered properly, there wouldn't have been any issues of traceability. He himself already gave evidence where somebody just decide some way, somehow not to follow the rules, and he's given the system. How is a new SIM registration going to solve that? He should answer that. Also, if someone hijacks, so I wrote it down, it's part of the things that I needed to write down. If someone hijacks your SIM, as in your number, right, and uses it to then execute a fraud, how is the new SIM registration going to solve that? So you see that there can always be some problems, technical. In some cases, it's not even technical, it's more of a human
but I see that the hijacking of these numbers has not got to directly deal with the SIMs and the numbers.
No.
But the use of some apps. So
see,
for instance,
for
instance,
okay, let me.
WhatsApp. They don't hijack the number, but they hijack the application, the app.
I get it.
And then send messages to people and then get them to send them some monies and all of that. But it is not the SIM that is hijacked.
Okay.
I don't know if that's
I get
clear.
you. But what if somebody even physically steals your SIM?
I think
I don't want
you
to
can run to the telco and get a block.
Okay, but you haven't even noticed. I'm using all these just to tell you that there is a human aspect. I'm not trying to nitpick.
Okay.
You are never going to be able, if any minister or any technical person comes here and says that I'm going to eradicate all SIM-related fraud,
you see, Prince,
that person is off. If I could just land for a minute.
Okay.
So all I'm trying to say is that there could be instances where even though the SIM is properly registered, all right, is duly registered, is traceable, people could still find a way to hijack. And here I'm not only talking about system hijack. It could even be a physical.
Okay.
To do something.
Okay.
You get it. All right. They've held your gun to your head. Say, give us your SIM. They plugged it in.
Okay.
All right.
But these are extreme situations.
Okay, my brother. You know,
a minute is
things
gone.
can happen.
Oh, you don't.
But I'm just saying that I've gotten your SIM.
Okay.
And I put it in and I execute. You could still have a way, a plausible deniability that it wasn't you who did it.
Prince,
you get it. So all I'm trying to say is that things can still happen. That's why we have the agencies.
Okay.
Okay,
Prince,
quick one. No, don't give me a break. No, I want to.
I'll give you time because I've asked this question to Prince several times, and I don't know, but I'm not getting a convincing.
For a long time, you are not getting straight answers.
And I'll ask for the last time. If I don't get, we'll move on.
Okay.
The question I'm asking,
I think I've been very clear, but
is that we have done SIM registration. The SIM is linked to our Ghana cards. The Ghana card has all sorts of data from the person's background, father, mother, hometown, grandfather, grandmother, and even the digital address of the bearer of the Ghana card is supposed to be part of the data that was collected. And you talk about the strengths, the gains of the SIM registration that was done by the previous government. Okay. And you mentioned traceability,
of course,
as one of our gains. And then I ask a very simple question that if indeed traceability is one of the strengths, is one of the things we can boast about in that SIM registration, what makes it difficult for us to trace all these people that are misusing the SIM card?
I also asked you an earlier question. So on what basis do you have data that tells you if things are the same, improved, or worse? Have they provided any data to Ghanaians?
No, I'm not.
Have you seen any?
Prince,
as a Ghanaian, we're all Ghanaians.
Prince, let me. Are you going to answer my question?
Okay, fine. You let me answer. So they have not provided the data.
But Prince, you admitted that these SIM frauds are happening. You mentioned hacking of numbers, application, and how people send messages to people, luring them to send them monies and all of that through the SIM fraud. And in as much as we don't have data, we cannot cite specific report. Let's say in few instances they are happening, and I'm asking that if indeed the system allows for us to trace these people, where is the talent coming from? Is it the law enforcement agencies? Is it the telco operators? Is it the system?
It's an enforcement issue because I've already told you, I've taken so much time to describe, especially the stage one, which I said in and of itself.
So you think that the system put in place at the time allows for the law enforcement agencies to trace these people?
Michael, I'm just saying that when you look at even just the stage one up to the star 402, I'm telling you that it's adequate for us to do everything that needs to be done.
Prince, I give you 8 minutes for your reactions and then
so just one more minute because you asked me hold on. You asked so many questions and you are not giving me even 1 minute to wrap up. If you could give me just 1 minute
30
to wrap
seconds.
up. Okay. I'm just saying that all the tools are there. It's now left to enforcement. And I can assure you that many of the things that you are asking, where I'm saying that we're not providing solid data for people to really assess whether we're improving on the fraud matter or not. Okay, and that we need to demand that. Okay, beyond all that, the new SIM, if we do it again so many times, many of the things that are being mentioned here will not be solved by them.
Okay.
So we have all we need. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, let me do some. I'll still give you your time. Don't worry.
No. When the tea is hot, let's do it that way. Then you go to the message. No,
okay.
Otherwise, it will not be a bit fair.
Now,
quickly,
objection sustained.
Quickly, did I get from Prince that the LI regulating registration of SIM card is LI 2111? He said just a yes or no answer.
Yes.
Okay, that is false.
Okay.
The LI 211 is National Identity Register LI. Now let's talk law. Seriously. The LI regulating registration of SIM is LI 2006. Now, one of the problems Honorable Sam George had then was that the LI 211 is a general law. The LI 2006 is a specific law. And in law, when we have a general law and a specific law, or two laws are talking about the same subject, the specific law overrides. Now, when you go to LI 2006, which is on registration of SIM card, it talks about you bring a national document. And under interpretation of a national document, it lists a lot of other documents apart from the national identity card. That is one of the areas that the Honorable Sam George had an issue then and was raising it. That we had two things competing for the same thing. Today, he's saying that we are getting policy documents, we are getting another law, etc. These are only to make sure that we tie everything properly. If I am lying about LI 2006, let somebody tell me.
You're not lying, but
yes,
I'm not
so,
getting the issue here. I'll answer it when you're done.
You should be able to you should be able to get where I am coming from.
No problem.
Now,
when you're done.
under LI 2006, it says that under Regulation 2, when you go to Regulation 2 under LI 2006, quickly, just for the sake of education, it says that a network operator or service provider shall register a subscriber identity model of a subscriber. A subscriber shall, for the purpose of registration of that subscriber, furnish the network, blah, blah, the name of on the residential address, an identification document. Now, when you go to the interpretation section of the said LI, an identification document has been described. An identification document for a citizen includes a valid driver's license,
national health insurance,
passports,
voter IDs,
exactly,
national identity.
Exactly. It includes all this.
Yes.
So it means at your registration, you could go with a voter's card.
But in the actual exercise, it was communicated and accepted.
That is the problem. That somebody was enforcing the wrong law. Somebody was doing the wrong thing. That is the problem. If the specific law, you just read it, you saw it.
Okay.
The specific law tells you what you can bring.
Okay.
And I've told you, let's do a bit of law teaching here.
Okay.
If there are 2 laws competing for the same thing, and there is a general law,
but
let me tell you. Do you know why we have the airlines? Come on. What do you mean we don't? We apply it that way.
It was
Prince. When you were talking for the 10 minutes, I was quiet.
No problem, Chief. Don't worry.
Yes.
What is going to be the difference between the proposed LI and what we already have?
We'll have one identification,
which
will be the Ghana card.
The Ghana card,
which is linked to all these institutions that I mentioned earlier.
But do you admit that in the actual exercise, the Ghana card was the only means of identification?
Yeah. And that is why a number of people couldn't register because they couldn't get Ghana card then. And Honorable Sam George just mentioned it recently. That I remember very well. My very good senior, sorry to mention David Ametepe, he said, "Take my number. I don't have Ghana card. You can block my number. I won't be bothered. I don't have Ghana card."
Okay.
And then also let's remember, Ghana card was also being used then as a political tool. Because come on, you're not in this country. Ghana card was being used because when you get Ghana card, you get registered onto the voters. Look, I come from Wahwe, which is an area which, yes, people were complaining that you go there and you don't get Ghana card. I had my children from UK came today, go and do registration. It took a long time for them, months later, before they got their Ghana card.
In
Huawei. And even currently, people are still complaining. So Ghana card used to be a political tool that you need to get it.
Has that changed?
Yes, it has to. We are resetting. Why won't it change?
I'm asking whether has that changed?
Yes.
Is it in the process of change or it has changed?
It has changed. It's no more a political tool.
Okay.
Because Ghana card, you need to limit its issuance to certain group of people so as to reduce their votes.
Okay.
Let me finish, please. With all respect to you, don't disturb my thought flow.
Okay.
So the thing we are talking about now is that when, as you said, they were asking that we should all, the Chima will say Chinchina use Ghana card when some don't have Ghana card. When the specific law, as you have just read, allows you to bring valid driver's license, health insurance card, voter identification, national card, etc. Somebody was perpetrating illegality on us.
Okay.
And Honorable Sam George then, I remember very well, was raising this issue that we have LI 211 and we have LI 206. And 206 is the specific law. So today, with all that my good brother has said, hammering on just LI 211, if you want to position it in the law, he's been teaching us illegality and confirming illegality all along. Are you clear with me? Because the law LI 2006, the subject matter is what? Subscriber identity module registration. Regulation 2, blah, 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 blah. That is what it is.
Okay.
Isn't it? So for us to go down that route, that is why we are saying, hey, hold on. Now, if you listen to Honorable Sam George with the press conference, he said it that now almost everybody has Ghana card. So let's use Ghana card. Assuming those days, someone decides that, look, I don't have Ghana card. Not decide. You have forced someone without the Ghana card and you block the person from registering. And today, the person has. And we are saying that now Ghana card is linked to all these institutions. Okay. Let's do it properly. Then that one to Wahala come inside.
Okay.
No.
So let me find out from you that, yes, the LI at the time allowed for people to use NHIS card, driver's license, voter's ID, and all of that as means of identification. But in the actual exercise, that was not used. People were only allowed to use the Ghana card.
Yeah.
Today, people are only going to use the Ghana card.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that people didn't have Ghana card at the time.
Yeah, it's not true.
And now you say all of these people have the Ghana card. One, they still have the opportunity to go and register their SIMs with their new Ghana cards.
Yes.
And if the Ghana card is what is supposed to be used and is what was used, why do we, those that have gone through the process, have to go back and go through the process once again using the same Ghana card?
I know you will come to that. Thank you. I've prepared for it.
Okay.
Now, one, I am aware of certain instances when certain people did not have Ghana card, but asked their brothers and sisters to register for them.
Okay.
So as to be able to continue to use their SIM card.
Okay.
Today, there's an opportunity for them to they themselves Because now you can't go back and say, the one you used to register for me isn't mine. Now use mine to register. It wouldn't have happened.
Could we not create that avenue?
How are you going to create that avenue, for crying out loud? I mean, I asked him to register for me. If I go now that the number I'm using was that bears his name was actually mine, how are you going to prove that?
How are you going to stop that today?
No, that is why I'm saying that now there are two things. We have gone ahead of all that. Prince, the truth of the matter is that no system, no matter how good created it is, that people will not try to do something illegal or bad about
Michael
the
said
system.
He didn't understand me.
That will be there. However, you try to minimize the use of that. You don't punish the good or law-abiding citizens as a result of somebody's misbehavior.
Michael, why don't you argue with him on this one? Because that's what I said.
That is why when I started, I said
because I'm the one that
I agreed with you from beginning that you have put all of us into sleep mode. Perhaps you have forgotten. I said it. That you started by saying that. I said it. Now, what we are saying, I gave you a typical example. I have a young guy now. At a stage, he tells me, my SIM card is blocked. My brother is going to register my SIM card using his. So now that there's opportunity, he cannot carry his brother to say, detach that SIM card from me and give it to my younger brother. And there will be countless number of people doing that. But we forced them into that condition. If we had paid attention to LI 2006 of 2011, that allowed every other form of identification. But because we were using the SIM registration and its attendant Ghana card as a political tool, we were doing that because we wanted to reduce votes of certain group of people. We were doing that because we wanted to reduce votes of certain political party. But when we do things like that, the political party actually and the people we want to prevent from registering, they rebound and rebound very well. So today, having been resetting Ghana, and we are on a reset agenda, we are saying that the Ghana card will be made available for everybody. Let us start afresh. Let us do this properly. Let us link all the institutions and the agencies and get a very robust system and have biometric features also linked to the cards so that I don't sit in my room. Recently, somebody sent me a message. I told you, and they sent me 500. And I say, hey, come on. The person you are writing about cannot even write boy. The following day, the lady called me and said, thank you. But you know, one of my brothers has already sent money. We want to prevent things. Yes, we want to prevent things like that. And the lawyers will say, res ipsa. The thing speaks for itself. We don't need a report. Nobody needs anything. It could be gut feeling. But our gut feeling is so strong that all of us, every day, maximum a week, will receive a message to say, send me money. You ask a simple question. That when they hack your WhatsApp and ask that you to send a message, they don't actually hack the SIM. I will address something. You see, there are two numbers involved here. The WhatsApp number and the number they will ask you to send the money to. They will not ask you to send the money to the WhatsApp number. It has never been, because when you send it to the WhatsApp number, you are sending it to the owner of the that means that the SIM is not hacked. And he's saying that you ask also that when your number is physically stolen, he said, how will you know? Your phone is physically stolen and you will know. I mean, come on. You will know that your phone is physically stolen. One of the things the ministry and the minister for that matter, Honorable Sam George, has proposed, which I am repeating here, is that if your number is involved, your number risks being blocked. Your Ghana card risks being blocked. And your phone risks being blocked that you cannot use the phone ever again.
Point well made. You're still live on Good Morning Ghana with me, Michael Kofi Oduro. Keep your thoughts coming through. Just log on to our Facebook platform where the show is streaming live and leave your thoughts underneath the live feed on Facebook. At this point, we'll do a quick break. When we return, Parliament has approved the Barari DV Ghana lithium mining agreement. We're back shortly after this break.
Start your Kids Day the right way, filled with confidence to take on any challenge. Pepsodent Kids contains the right amount of fluoride and sugar acid protection to care for their developing gums and teeth. Grab either orange or strawberry so they brush with the sweet flavor they love morning and evening. Pepsodent Kids, giving your children a bright smile for a brighter future.
Finding the ideal property shouldn't be a daunting task. At MNC Properties, we believe everyone deserves a place to call home. That's why we specialize in providing affordable housing options under our flagship project, Fresh Property Joy. Specifically designed for low and medium income earners. Our range of customizable homes includes 2 and 3 bedroom standard and executive options, all meticulously crafted using innovative interlocking brick technology. We understand the importance of simplicity and convenience in the acquisition process. That's why we have designed our procedures to be straightforward and hassle-free, offering flexible payment options tailored to your individual needs. In addition to our affordable homes, we proudly offer litigation-free lands for sale in vibrant and upscale communities that present the perfect opportunity to build your dream home. We are committed to making affordable housing a reality, providing you with the joy of owning a home that meets your budgets and aspirations. Whether you're looking to buy, rent, or invest, we've got you covered. Our service team is ready to assist you on 030-255-1917. MNC Properties, choice of class.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson, Asamo.
Me didn't tum. Mr. Femi Kakalika, just call me cockroach. Now, Mr. Femi once now.
Hey, that's on you.
Improve car.
Yeah.
Captain Mosquito, double the action. Me didn't sasso spray. Mr. Femi sasso quell. Yeah, come my sasso
Sasso, come tum preko.
When nations rise, it begins with bold conversations. When economies grow, it is driven by partnership. This April, Ghana's business and policy leaders converge at the Crow Business Forum 2026, the nation's premier platform for investment, enterprise, and economic transformation. With special guest of honor, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, joining captains of industry, financial institutions, investors, and entrepreneurs.
The Crow Business Forum is more than just an event. It is a call to action. And so let us work together to build a Ghana that is competitive, productive, and inclusive, and a Ghana that creates opportunities for all.
Come, let's engage in high-level dialogue, explore industry exhibitions, build powerful networks, and unlock real opportunities from finance and insurance to manufacturing, agribusiness, SMEs, and innovation. This is where it all happens. From the 3rd to the 5th of April 2026 at the Crow Convention Center in Praia Hills. Go to www.crowbusinessforum.com and register now. To register for exhibitions, call 059 555 5885 or 059 555 5995. Crow Business Forum. Connect, promote, grow.
Welcome back from the break. You're still live on Good Morning Ghana with me, Michael Kofi Odo. Your thoughts are welcome through our social media platform. Facebook, it's Metro TV Ghana. If it's your first time on the page, like or follow the page and leave your thoughts there. You can also send your thoughts through SMS and WhatsApp 0533 292525. 0533 292525. We'll do some messages that have come through our social media platforms and WhatsApp line. Kojo Sam says, good work of you and the team. Peaceful. Good morning. Okay. This one says, with all these talks, what is the plan for identifying or giving identification number to newborns? This question is from Dennis Owusu. Bedu Kwame says, I find the exercise of re-registering too cumbersome and tenuous. What will those living abroad do? Travel thousands of kilometers just for a card re-registration? Recently, accessing the NHIS online from abroad has been difficult, and MTN and Telecel services are also posting problems. Dr. Don Blow says, Dr. Don Blow sent us this from Bremso Apewosika. The MPP, okay. The MPP is on a misinformation campaign, doing everything possible to make His Excellency John Dramani Mahama-led government unpopular. But that old style of politics doesn't work anymore. Ghanaians are now wiser and easily see through it. Instead of constant noise and baseless claims, they should focus on rebuilding and offering real alternatives. If the NPP wants to be taken seriously again, they must show maturity and responsibility. When the NDC was in opposition, they were more focused and constructive. This is the standard Ghanaians expect today. I also extend my warm wishes to all Muslims celebrating today. Eid Mubarak to you and your families. Okay, we'll do some messages from WhatsApp as well. This one says, hi bro, the NPP can't be trusted at all. In government, they introduced Momo e-levy, which they indicated will solve all our economic problems, hence no feed for IMF loans. We complained bitterly for it to be removed, but that government refused and they surprised us by even going to the IMF. Today, the NPP wants the energy levy removed and even referred to the NDC government as wicked. At least we are not seeing the independent power producers agitating, because this government is spending the money judiciously and very transparent, unlike the previous NPP government's very harsh Momo e-levy, which till date the benefit is unknown. Check the wonders happening at Bank of Ghana relative to the economics, all because we have a visionary, technically excellent in economic matters and hard-working governor, Dr. Johnson Pandit Isiama. They should give us a very big break. Papa Bisiu from Spintex. This one says, I'm very disappointed with the Honorable Minister for Communications, Sam George. When he was in opposition, he was pointing out all the flaws of these telcos. Today, I think there are more pressing issues to deal with the telcos. Even you in the studio, Michael, try and call any of your panelists in the studio right now, and I can bet that 2 out of 3 times the call will not go through. Today, calls to a particular red network. Okay, I will not continue this one. This one says, good morning to you and the panelists. You guys are doing a great job. I like the conversation this morning, quite dispassionate and not necessarily political. I think that on the SIM registration, there are more pressing issues to deal with. Our telcos are delivering poor services. Some of them are just like non-existent, calls not going through, poor data services. And I feel these issues should be first dealt with before any form of SIM re-registration. Okay. You're still live on Good Morning Ghana. You can also share your thoughts on Facebook, where Metro TV Ghana, on X, otherwise known as Twitter, is Metro TV GH. And you can also do a simple SMS or WhatsApp message via 0533 292525. 0533 292525. And I read our next story from Metro TV Online. It comes with the heading, Parliament approves lithium mining deal at Mankesim. The story now. Parliament has approved a mining lease agreement for the extraction of lithium and other minerals at Mankesim in the Infanteman municipality of the Central Region, despite strong opposition from the minority caucus. The approval allows the adoption of a report by the Committee on Lands and Natural Resources, which reviewed the agreement between the Government of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and Barari DV Ghana Limited. The project covers an area of about 42.36 square kilometers. Presenting the case for the agreement, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources said the project holds significant promise for the country. He noted that lithium mining could generate substantial revenue, create jobs, and drive socio-economic development in communities within the lease area. There was a heated debate on the floor of Parliament yesterday, and we bring you excerpts of it here on Good Morning Ghana.
Right, Mr. Speaker, I take for granted the fact that this report made provision for environmental issues in the contract area, and indeed stated that the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, will be required to issue an environmental permit before any operations can take place. But Mr. Speaker, in my view, the environmental provisions in the agreement are not adequate. Lithium production has significant negative footprint. The key environmental issues relate to water contamination, soil degradation and pollution, waste generation, even e-waste. The footprint is quite colossal. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the discussion on this very important report. Mr. Speaker, at the outset, let me empathize with my immediate successor, who has spearheaded the conclusion of this agreement. Mr. Speaker, I say empathize because, with the greatest of respect and in all modesty, Mr. Speaker, I do appreciate the complexities, the difficulties and complications associated with this kind of negotiation. And Mr. Speaker, and if you want to appreciate the point I'm making, I was first before this House on the 16th of July 2024 to make an attempt to elicit the approval of this House to get the imprimatur of this House of an agreement between these same parties. And by that, Mr. Speaker, I refer to the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and Barari DV Ghana Limited for the mining of lithium. Mr. Speaker, the same agreement. I have the agreement I presented to this House here with me, and I have perused this report and the terms of this report. Mr. Speaker, the terms of the agreement I brought before this House, by that, the agreement the Akufo-Addo government brought before this House, and the terms of this agreement are not fundamentally different.
Okay, so the last of the speakers, the Honorable Jinapor, saying that the terms of the new agreement, which was passed yesterday or approved is not too different from what he laid before the House back in 2024. As we may be aware, on November 11, 2025, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources presented to Parliament a new agreement, which was different from what the previous government had worked on. And after several months, about 3-4 months, the agreement has finally been approved, and the minority raised issues, including environmental degradation and how the agreement does not deal with the expected degradation to our environment. Let me start this one with you, Theo. The Honorable Jinapor says the value may be the same, but except for the fact that it does not deal with some of the expected challenges on our environment.
It's a bit unfortunate that he said the agreement is the same.
He says it's almost
the same.
Yes.
Yet, for some reason, they voted against the agreement. So the one they brought to us, that they wanted us to NDC to join them to vote for in 2024, has been brought back, and they are rejecting it.
Okay, but
the hypocrisy of it.
At least they raised issues of environmental degradation, which they believe this agreement, the one passed yesterday, does not deal with. And coming from the background and knowing how well Galamsey or gold mining has degraded our environment, even if that is the only difference, I think for us it should be a major concern and it should be a major issue.
Yes, remember, my background is mining. I'm a mining engineer.
Okay.
So I am talking with authority of knowledge in the field.
Okay.
There are other areas, other entities that are supposed to deal with environmental issues.
Okay.
We have the EPA. Before they would have gotten to this level, they would have done an EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment.
Okay.
And they would have presented a report. Okay. And if the report called for public engagement on it, they would have done all that.
Okay.
So to say that the agreement must definitely have specific issues about environmental things is to say that once it is put in here, the EPA, etc., should allow the Minerals Commission to continue the work on environmental impact assessment or any environmental issues. These are issues that there is an entity established to handle.
Okay.
So the main issue here is the ratification of the agreement and what comes to Ghana, what comes to the local folks, and what we are all going to benefit out of it.
Okay, but,
allow me to address a bit of hypocrisy sometimes.
Okay,
now if you had really played the entire tape for us,
okay,
the ranking member on the committee, when he was talking, Honorable Afenyo-Markins asked him to reject the report, to say the report is a one-sided report, but in the end, the young man said that the report he supports the passage of the report. Then Honorable Afenyo-Markins said their side of Parliament are not going to vote for the report. But a form of hypocrisy. You see, when you were reading the messages, somebody said something that for Ghanaians to take NPP serious, they must move away from this little looking for a scandal, looking for opportunities to address certain things that are non-existent. And to borrow a leaf from the book of my brother here, you saw how grown-up men went all about to cocoa farming areas, lied and came back, etc. Things like that, and all these little things you are doing will not endear you to the people. Now, there were people of Mankesin, Salt Pond, etc., who either demonstrated or wanted to demonstrate about the delay in passage of or ratification of this agreement. Because there are local jobs that, let me put it, were at stake. There are local people who are waiting to have their opportunity to participate in this, of course, by the Local Content Act. And they were all being held down by the fact that this thing keeps dragging. Then the agreement that you brought, it's now been brought, except that now they are using the sliding scale, that when the price of the commodity increases, we will get more, instead of having a fixed 10%. Then you say you are against it. You talk about environmental issues. Yes, lithium is one dangerous metal that its mining must comply with strict regulations. I can assure you the EPA is on top of its job. But let's look at the global thing. What is the benefit to us? If we keep dragging this for a long time, how is it going to benefit Ghana? What will be the adverse effect on Ghana? That we should all look at. It doesn't mean that we should sell our future for pittance and ignore the environmental issues related. But I can assure you, EPA is on top of it. Before the agreement will reach that level that there will be ratification, as I said, there are various steps they would have done. Various steps.
Now,
and those would have been,
there's an adage in Twi that says, near Owaka no esu sonsono. The literal translation in English means that he that is bitten by a snake fears the worm. And we are all aware.
Bitten, twice shy.
Yes, we are all aware of how illegal mining, and some people put in general, mining has hurt the Ghanaian environment. Now, on lithium, if you go to countries like Argentina, Nevada, where mining of lithium is very high, there are concerns, environmental concerns, including water depletion, contamination and waste, landscape degradation, high carbon emissions in the system, threat to biodiversity.
Can you please take your time and mention the concerns?
Okay, so the concerns include water depletion, contamination and waste, that's from chemical residues, landscape degradation, high carbon emissions, and threat to biodiversity. These are the concerns from the countries where the mining of lithium is very high. And like I mentioned, looking at how we have been affected by illegal mining, do you not think that it would have been ideal to put specific clauses in the agreement that will seek to minimize and deal with these expected environmental issues?
Before then, I guess you meant Nevada in the US. So maybe not Nevada as a country. That's one. The idea about water depletion, it will depend on particular area where maybe the mining has a water body close by that is going to be affected. Now, you also talk about contamination of the water bodies. It will be similar to that. Then you talk about land degradation. I want to tell you one thing, and I want our viewers to appreciate that. I don't know whether you have ever been to any large-scale mining site. Before I address that, I want you to remove illegal mining from legal mining. Because we have legal mining, we have the Newmonts, we have the Goldfields Ghana, we have all the Jinping or something in Newmont, Achin, or Sine and Koko. We have all of them operating in Ghana. We have Adamos in Zimaland. They are big mining companies and they are operating legally. So it will be unfair for you to mix your adage you quoted rightly, a good adage does not apply here. Because you are talking about illegal mining and comparing it to legal mining. Once we are having all the illegal mining, let's say Newmont is mining, Goldfields is mining, Resolute are mining, Bogosu Gold, they are mining. Once we are doing all this, our fight against illegal mining, none of our entities had ever entered Newmont site to say, stop your mining, because they are mining legally. Now, if you have ever been to any mining site and you are talking about landscape degradation, you will see it being done on every surface mine. The landscape is generally going to be degraded. However, the mining law makes a provision that you need to reclaim a mine out area. So we have a situation where a certain proportion of their income is taken away and saved, that when they reclaim, we pay the money back. If they don't reclaim, we use the money to reclaim and make the land again back to usable status. So if we are talking about landscape degradation, we have a law already dealing with that. But if it is being asked that we should specifically put it in there, and despite the presence of a law, that's duplication. Now, Well, some of all these things you have mentioned are duties of the EPA, for the EPA to ensure that ABC is done. So the EPA cannot renege on its duty when, you see, all the mining companies that operate around water bodies must have water quality analysis periodically. And the EPA will also take data periodically to see what the water quality is within the area. So if we have, Ghana's mining laws are one of the best in the world. I can assure you. Our laws are one of the best in the world. The problem you might have is, are we enforcing them to the latter? Yes, the big mining companies or the legal mining companies, we are ensuring a lot of them are operating to the very maximum of the law. So the fear that we have not put in all this in the law for us to have a situation where it should be clause 1, clause 2, clause 3, etc., could be genuine concern, but the EPA is there to deal with it. If in the interest or in the view of EPA, these things are not being done properly, they have ways to deal with it. So I think the fear there is neither here nor there.
Okay. Prince, what difference will it make to include all of these things the minority is asking for in the agreement? What will it do for us?
I mean, what would we lose if we included those things? That should be rather the question. The minority, it's interesting that Mr. Jumega and many NDC people feel that they have the locus to be constantly advising MPP on how we should make ourselves be taken seriously by Ghanaians. We take offense at it because you don't tell us how we should do our opposition. For such a reckless opposition party that just took over government, that is being deemed a scam one-term government by many Ghanaians today, for all the lies, all the propaganda from Russia, Ukraine to LGBTQ, the lies upon lies upon lies that you told, and you are telling us how to do opposition respectfully and seriously? Are you kidding me? Please, all NDC people, stop. After all, if we don't know what we're doing, it can only be to your benefit, perhaps. And we don't need to get advice about morality from a brothel, with all due respect. When we talk about some of the things that the opposition has achieved, even this law, they wanted to pass, if I remember correctly, they brought a bill and they were going to reduce, again, the same scam and 419 that they have become so well known for. They opposed the previous bill that was going to grant 10%. Ghanaians remember this very well. For the first time, they said it wasn't good enough. And then they brought a bill that was going to now reduce the 10% to 5%. And shamelessly, like they do with all the lies, whether it's to cocoa farmers, and almost everything that they promised, licensure, exams, and all that, and then they said they didn't say it, and we have videos showing they said it and all that. Every day, we have a new scam that they did in opposition. So the opposition can take credit for stopping them and raising alarm from them reducing our royalties, which was supposed to be 5%, 10%, which they criticized, and they shamelessly wanted to come and reduce it to 5%. At least today we have a sliding scale. Isn't the opposition to get good credit for raising the alarm? If you talk about ECG, look at how they were charging people. The opposition raised alarm about it, and they are already beginning to give some credit. It's not enough. And we have calculations upon calculations from the People's Forum showing that they still should give the people more credit for the ECG because they should have been reducing the electricity charges, not increasing them according to the IMF agreement. And they were lying that the IMF agreement was the one that was telling them that they should be increasing. It was a lie. We caught them. The same opposition is the one that has been raising all the alarms. Until the opposition raised alarm, they didn't even have a cabinet meeting that they had on the cocoa issue so that they can begin to pay them. Even pay them the reduced amount that they tricked them and scammed them about the cocoa farmers, that is. They're waiting for you. Okay? Because you scammed them. So, at the end of the day, if such an opposition that is getting so much benefit for the people, whether it's on electricity charges, overcharges, or it's raising the cocoa farmer concerns, or fighting for our royalties, which we put at 10%, and they wanted to go and reduce it to 5%, maybe go get a cut or something. We raised all these things, and now we're getting results. And if this is what you say that we should not be doing so that Ghanaians will take it seriously, please keep your advice to yourself, with all due respect. So if the same opposition that is doing such a fantastic work for the people of Ghana said that their environmental concerns that they wanted in and they didn't put in, so they want those in, and for that reason they don't support this. Why should Ghanaians not trust them? They are getting the results. So, for me, I don't have much to say. I trust the opposition. They are doing a good job. It's very clear they are getting results. I've given you at least 3 examples. There are many others on Galamsey and other things where the opposition is working. When they go to the farms, you are criticizing them. Where do you want them to go? There are even instances of some people chasing them when they go and do meetings, have meetings with farmers and all that. Please, let people be free. It's a democracy, and let's do the job. With that said, I have 1 or 2 quick things, if I could
please
go back to the...
In just a minute. Because we have just
I need like 2 minutes.
We have 1.5 minutes to wrap up.
He mentioned that in Rwanda, you can't just go and register a SIM. In Ghana here, you also cannot do that by law. You have to use an ID, like a passport, to get that. He also mentioned that the LI 2006 somehow supersedes. The LI 2111 was passed well after the LI 2006. And not only that, the Electronic Communications Act allowed the minister to determine the form in which registration for SIMs could be done. So I remember very well, there are clauses in the Electronic Communications Act that allow the minister, and she decided that the Ghana card will be the authoritative card that will be used. And case closed. To say that we were supposed to go and use LI 2006, which led to the 100% failure that we had in 2012. Please, why was MPP going to do that? And please stop the politics.
Okay.
This is a party that can oppose even the implementation of the Ghana
law.
card.
Let me just advise.
You are a lawyer. I'm not a...
I have just
whether this was passed earlier or not. No, I beg. The law part, let me explain. Whether it was passed earlier or not, we are talking about specific law and a general law.
Okay.
When just Google it. There's a Latin expression that says, "Let specialis derogat legi general." When there's a specific law and a general law, irrespective of when both, the specific law is to a specific purpose.
Our
the
minister
general
was a
law,
lawyer and believed
it doesn't matter. Judges even get this
Theophilus
unless it goes to
Jimega
court.
is a member of the NDC's communications team. He's an engineer and a private legal practitioner. Prince Ofosu Sefa is also a member of the MPP's communications team and a former chief executive officer of the Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications. This has been another edition of Good Morning Ghana. But before I leave, I can certainly not end without saying a special happy birthday to Dr. Joseph Sian Ejepong, Executive Chairman of the Jospon Group of Companies, of which IMG, Ignite Media Group, Metro TV, Original FM are all subsidiaries. A great blessing to this nation. Doc, we pray for long life for you. We pray for good health for you. We pray for continuous wisdom. We pray that the favor of the good Lord will continue to manifest on you as you remain a blessing to many generations in this country. Special happy birthday to Dr. Joseph Sian Ejepong. So once again, I'm asked to do it again. So once again, special happy birthday to Dr. Joseph Sian Ejepong, Executive Chairman and Founder of the Jospon Group of Companies, of which Metro TV, Original FM are all subsidiaries. Doc, we pray asking the good Lord to continue to bless you, give you long life, make you enjoy good health, and that the favor of the good Lord continue to rest upon your head as you remain a blessing to many generations of this country. Special happy birthday to you, Dr. Joseph Siao Ejepon. That's how we wrap up this edition of Good Morning Ghana. Michael Kofi Odro. I sat in for your regular host, Moro Awudu. We're glad that you made time to join us on this edition of the show. Happy Eid al-Fitr to all our Muslim brothers and sisters, and we pray to Allah for successful and peaceful celebrations. I'm Michael Kofi Odro. You do enjoy the long weekend.
This International Women's Day, Metro TV, Original TV and Original FM spark a conversation that shapes our future. In a world of moral uncertainty, women are demanding ethical clarity, principled leadership and real change. As we celebrate Ghana Month, we honor our rich culture, values of integrity, respect, resilience,